So I haven't been here a couple of days. The grandkids were here yesterday and they all got new books in the mail. So I did read yesterday, but they were all here. So I forgot, didn't really record. But I'm not been doing a good job of reading every day, and I'm sorry. I'm going to really try. We are on chapter 6, An Escape. Mandy went to James' house every day after school. They had tried the hot water bottle trick, and Blackie was settling in well. In fact, he was getting very adventurous, starting to explore his new home. Benji the cat was also interested in Blackie, but poor little Blackie was terrified of him. Not that Benji would hurt Blackie, he only wanted to play. By the time Blackie was 10 weeks old, there were a few puddles on the kitchen floor for Mandy and James to mop up, and the puppy was eating some solid food. House training was pretty important, so Mandy and James made a big effort. We have to find a way of telling him to go outside, said James. We should use the same words each time so that he'll know what to do. And we need to make sure that he always take him the same place in the garden, said Mandy. That's okay, said James. Dad has fenced off a corner especially for him, so as long as we take him out straight after meals, there shouldn't be any accidents. But we have to clean up after him. Of course we will, said Mandy. It would be good to get him trained before we start taking him for walks. They would be allowed to take him off in 3 or 4 weeks, once his shots were completed. But for now, they had to keep him in the garden or carry him if they wanted to take him out of the house. On Friday evening, Mandy knocked on the Hunter's door as usual. James is in the kitchen, Mrs. Hunter said to Mandy. Mandy made her way to the kitchen and pushed open the door. Hi, Mandy, James said. Then he looked behind her. Shut the door, he said. Quick! Mandy turned to close the door, but she was too slow. Benji shot through her legs into the kitchen. Oh, no, she said, making a dive for Benji. Sorry, James, I forgot. James started toward the dog basket, but he was too late. The bundle of black fur scampered out of the cardboard box and over the side of the basket, skidding across the kitchen floor. Benji made a dash for the puppy, but the little animal scampered out of the kitchen and down the hall. Oh, no, said James. Where is he gone? Mandy groaned. I left the door open. I'm sorry. James made a dive for Benji and gathered him up in his arms. It's okay, he said. He looked down at Benji. We know you wouldn't hurt the puppy, he said, but you do frighten him. Mandy took Benji into the living room and explained to Miss Hunter what had happened. Don't you worry, Mandy, said Mrs. Miller. I'll keep Benji here. You two go search for Blackie. Mandy found James in the hall. I think he's in there, said James, pointing to the closet under the stairs. The door was slightly open. If your hall closet is anything like ours, it'll take ages to find him, said Mandy, but nothing could be as bad as ours. James pulled open the door. The closet was filled with golf clubs, tennis rackets, umbrellas, and boxes, and all sorts of things. I'll take that back, said Mandy. It's even worse than ours. Mama's always saying we need to clear it out, James said. Oh, well, let's take a look with the light on, said Mandy. James shook his head. There isn't a light, he said. Dad is always meaning to put one in. Mandy peered into the deep recesses of the closet. How are we going to find a black puppy in a pitch-dark closet? She said. James pushed his glasses up onto his nose. We'll just have to move all the stuff until we find him, he said. Or lure him out, said Mandy. I'll go and get him something to eat. Good idea, said James, lifting a golf bag out of the closet. Here, Blackie, he called hopefully. By the time Mandy got back with a bowl of milk, James had dragged a big pile of stuff out of the closet, but there was still no signs of a puppy. Mandy put the bowl down on the floor. Then she and James crouched down and waited. there was a scuffling noise on the back of the cupboard. Then the scratching of tiny nails. Very slowly, a small black-haired head peered from behind the cupboard box. Mandy held her breath. She didn't want to scare Blackie. The puppy sniffed gently at the side of the cupboard, then crept around it, sniffing as he caught the scent of the milk. Slowly, his eyes flickered from the milk to Mandy and James. He crept closer until he was beside the bowl. Mandy and James stayed perfectly still until Blackie put his head down and began to lap. James let him polish off the milk before he scooped him up into his arms and cuddled him. "Bad Blackie," he said. Mandy grinned. "At least he got an extra snack," she said. "If that happens very often, he'll soon put on weight." James looked at the puppy proudly. "He is getting bigger, isn't he?" He said. "Soon he'll be as big as Sarah's puppy." "Licorice," said Mandy. "Is that what she named him?" James asked. "Of course. He is as black as Blackie." Mandy gave Blackie a pat. "I wonder if he gets into as much mischief as Blackie does," she said. Then she laughed. "He was completely invisible in that dark closet. You certainly picked the right name for him, James." James tickled the puppy under the chin. "Oh, Blackie," he said, "what will you do next?" Chapter 7. I will come back and read it tomorrow.